Hey y'all, this is Corey with Everyday Man, doing everyday reviews for everyday people. And today I'm going to show you guys how to hook up an amplifier to your stereo receiver. And we'll get with it right after this. What we've got here is an Onkyo TX8555, which is an older stereo unit that I've got. So it's just a 2-channel receiver. It pushes 100 watts per channel. Well, I just recently purchased some speakers that are capable of taking 400 watts of peak power. So this just wasn't going to do it anymore. But as opposed to looking for a different receiver, they're just typically not going to have the power you need to push a speaker that needs 400 watts or even 200 watts for that matter. So what I bought was this Crown XLS 1502 amplifier. Now it's good for 300 watts per channel into an 8-ohm speaker. So it's going to be perfect for us. But what I'm going to do today is show you how to use this amplifier with your receiver. So let's go ahead and get to the back of these things and show you what's going on. It's really simple. It's really easy to do, but we're going to talk to you about it a little bit, or I'm going to talk to you about it a little bit, because I know these things can be confusing if you've never done it before. We're looking at the back of our receiver here on the bottom and our amplifier here on top. Now, all of these connections can look very confusing if you don't spend a lot of time looking at them or if you're unfamiliar. So basically, we'll start with the stereo receiver. It's got several different inputs for all your different equipment. It's got phono, CD, tape, game, TV, satellite, DVD, VCR. And all of these are your inputs. Now mine's really easy set up because the only thing I do use is my television. I use it to listen to music and to watch movies. So I typically keep it hooked to game and TV, just so I know. Now this stereo has 2 different line outs for your speakers. It's got a speakers A and a speakers B. So you can listen to 2 different sets of speakers in different rooms. Now I'm only going to be hooking up to 1 set of speakers, so we're going to use speakers A. That's what I'm typically hooked to. Now with our amplifier, we're simply going to take a signal from this receiver and put it right here on our RCA plugs going into the amplifier. And at that point, we now will remove our speaker wires from the receiver and hook them up to our amplifier. So it's going to be very simple. This amp has a pre-out. Now what the pre-out does is it takes the signal before the amplifier, before the internal amplifier of the receiver, and it will bring out a preamp signal. Now with the preamp, your volume control on your receiver still works, and so do your bass and treble knobs. Now there's also receivers that will have a line out. And the line out is different than the pre-out because a line out will simply just pass a signal through. So your volume control and your treble and bass and things like this will not work. So all we're going to do is unplug our speaker wires from this receiver and plug them into our amplifier. And then we will take RCA plugs to the pre-out. Very simply, go to our pre-out, and then here on our amplifier, we'll plug in our RCA cables just like this. And that is the only change that you're going to have to make this work. Now you're going to need 120 volts. Obviously, you're going to have this plugged in. But after this, we're going to continue to leave our receiver on the selection we want. It'll work just as usual, but we'll have this driving the speakers now. All right, now I've got my amp where I want it and my receiver where I want it, and we're very simply going to hook it up. We're going to take our left speaker wires coming from our left speaker and hook it to the left side of the amp. Positive and negative, and you want to make sure you always have your speaker wires positive and negative throughout, so that way the sound is in phase. And when you get a good set of speaker wires with some banana plugs, it makes it really easy. We've got a red and a black, and they will hook up accordingly. What we have here is our RCA plugs coming from our receiver. We will hook that up to the input of the amplifier. And we have our power wire for our amplifier. All right. So we got everything we need on the amplifier. Speaker wise and the RCA plug. Now as far as the receiver goes, the stereo receiver, this is the signal coming from my television. These RCA plugs. So I'm going to put these back in the same spot. Gain TV. And then our RCA jacks that's going to the amplifier will be hooked up to the preamp out on the stereo receiver. Or pre-out, as it's called on mine. Now all we have left to do is hook up the power wire to the amplifier. And this little guy hanging out here, this little white wire, is just an antenna for the FM radio. At this point, we've got everything hooked up. We got the TV in place, and we're ready to start turning things on. Now, what I suggest doing is turning on your stereo receiver first, making sure you have it on the right input, and set it at what you think will be or know will be a safe volume. We don't want to turn it too loud because we're not exactly sure what this amp's going to do just yet. But then we can turn on our amp. Now with the amp on, we can go ahead and play something on the TV. Now you notice the volume is working on the TV. Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't want to be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mind. You can notice that our meters are working, and we're not even remotely close to clipping at this point. So as you can see, this is really easy to do. Don't let it intimidate you. I know there's a lot of plugs, a lot of different connections on the back of the receiver. The amp is really simple. It's just a simple in and out, really easy, but the receiver is really easy too if you really just pay attention. Just hook it up to a preamp or a pre-out, as in my case. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the content. Please give me a thumbs up and go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more. And until next time, I'll see y'all on Everyday Man.